In the words of Grace Abbott, an American social worker, child labor and poverty are inevitably bound together. And if you continue to use the labor of children as treatment for the social disease of poverty, you'll have both poverty and child labor to the end of time. Very instructive indeed. You're watching NAPTIP On The Move. My name is Angela Agbegi. You already have an idea what today's topic is all about: child labor. What constitutes child labor? You'll learn about this and more if you stay with NAPTIP On The Move.
Children are often referred to as the future. So, a strong foundation helps the children develop skills they need to become well-functioning adults. However, child labor can mar the future of any child.
Child labor is basically the employment of any child in the age of 18, depriving them of development and restricting them to education. Child labor is also any work that's morally, physically, socially, and psychologically deprives a child of any further development.
Child labor can result to extreme bodily pain, mental harm, even death. So when I describe it as an evil, you understand something that could lead to death. Because oftentimes you see where children are subjected, like those in the quarries, they are exposed to the extent that even they inhale very harmful chemical substances without them knowing at that tender age. So it's like an evil, act that can only be described as wickedness to the children.
Poverty, lack of quality education, natural disasters and climate change, poor access to decent work, conflicts and mass migrations have been identified as causes of child labor. It is a global problem, and in recent times, children have been subjected to its worst forms.
We have types of child labor. We have child domestic labor where children serve as house helps. They're made to work. They actually do work meant for adults. Children are expected to have a particular number of hours they sleep, so when you deprive them of that, that's child domestic labor. Then you also have child sexual exploitation, whereby children are recruited, both internally and externally, internationally. They're recruited to serve as, to work in bars, and in the process they get sexually exploited. From these people who patronize these bars. And then you also have agricultural labor, whereby children are meant to work in quarries. Most of them say they're helping their parents because their parents probably they have lost their employment. So those are like the types of labor. The one that is prevalent in Nigeria, we could say, is child domestic labor, probably because of our society, everybody wants help, but it's a crime. If you have a domestic worker in your house who is below the age of 12, it's a crime under the TPR Act 2015.
Of recent, we are getting a whole lot of cases of sexual exploitation where a child that is as little as 3 months is being sexually abused. A child that is 2 years, a child that is 7 years, and you can even imagine their system has not even developed, but you see them at the end of the day, you see that their health is compromised, their body system is totally damaged. Then there is also those that are employed in drug production camps. You know, you see them meant to gather psychotropic substances that are injurious to their health.
NAPTIP, in fulfilling its mandate, works to ensure that incidences of child labor are curbed to the barest minimum.
We have 5 key strategies which NAPTIP is using, which is prevention, protection, prosecution, partnership, and policy. In the area of prevention, NAPTIP creates awareness down to the grassroots, giving people the adequate information they need to know concerning child labor, to make sure that people understand that child labor is a crime. We have what we call protection. NAPTIP also protects the victim. First of all, NAPTIP identify the victim, and after identifying that this victim is a victim of child labor, NAPTIP will go as far as rescuing the victim. Then after that, we do what we call family tracing. NAPTIP also play the role of ensuring that those suspects are being prosecuted, that the law takes its course on the offenders. Partnership. We partner because it's a global issue. Child labor is not just known in Nigeria alone. So we partner with other international organizations, partner with CSOs, NGOs, ensure that child labor is eradicated. NAPTIP also ensure that all the policies that has to do with our Child Rights Act is being implemented. NAPTIP go as far as supporting the amendment of any policy that is supporting a child right in Nigeria.
What NAPTIP is doing for child labor is basically education, awareness and sensitization. And this has gone down to the communities, because when you get the buy-in of community leaders, religious leaders, parents, to make them understand that nobody should employ a child to do an adult's job. You also get the buy-in of parents to make them understand that yes, there are economic issues, there are economic factors that you may need to push your child to go and work, but you're depriving the child of further development, you're depriving the child of education. So those are what NAPTIP is doing. We have community dialogues. Right now NAPTIP has vanguards in schools, and this is also a good step in the right direction, because now the children are like the ambassadors. They are taking the message to their parents.
The agency receives diverse cases of child labor.
Just some weeks ago, we arrested a woman. She does this, what's it called, prostitution somewhere in Maraba. And what she does is that she gave birth to a child in the process. Now she rents the child every day for stipends as low as 3,000 naira. Someone comes to rent the child, take them for begging of alms and all the rest of them. And when we were interviewing the girl, we got to know that she said at one point when the girl was so sick, and somebody called her and she said, no, if that baby dies, I'm tired of that baby, you people should bury the baby. So they subject them to all manner of hazardous and injurious jobs that are beyond their mental capacity. Then you see some of them also doing chores. You can imagine what a 5-year-old, what do you expect a 5-year-old, someone that should be under a complete care of the biological mother or parents. You see someone taking that as a help. You can, the guest is as good as yours. What would that person do? Such person needs even attention on his or her own.
Recently, there's one that the victims are even still here. 5 boys under the age of below the age of 18. They have been they are sourced here in the city, and then they were taken to Kogi State for farming. So on their way, the law enforcement agency were the one that rescued them, and they were brought to us. They are still here, their case is still going on. Then we had these container children. These container children, they were packed in this container that they normally use for this frozen food. They were taking them from Kwara State, they were taking them to Lagos to go and distribute them for domestic servants. So on their way, law enforcement agency will now rescue them and they brought them to NAPTIP. Those ones, NAPTIP took care of them. We gave them all the assistance, and they were now taken back to their locality, and they went through skills of their own choice, and after NAPTIP went down to their locality and empowered them. We have cases where children are being brought all the way from Togo, Ghana, Benin Republic down to Nigeria to do housework, and at the end of the day, the money is being paid upfront to their agents. So we handled such cases where at the end of the day, NAPTIP was able to rescue these victims and even help them to get back their money from their agents, and NAPTIP united them to their countries.
In some instances, child labor often leads to child abuse.
When a child is made to do a job for an adult and the child doesn't do it properly, the child tends to be abused, either as a domestic worker. Say for instance, you have a child who wakes up as early as 4 a.m. and starts cleaning the house, doing all the chores, and the child now does that, all the different activities, then goes to bed by 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. That child will definitely be tired. And when the child doesn't wake up early enough, the master or the boss tends to physically abuse the child by beating, punching, pouring objects or things you shouldn't do on the child. So that leads to child physical abuse. And so children should do work that is commensurate to their age. Employers of labor need to know that that child needs to develop appropriately. So employing that child is not really the best for that child, no matter how hard it may sound or seem. Because when you employ that child, the child is not thinking of education. All the child wants is to earn. And it's a crime, because the child is not up to the required age of employment.
The NAPTIP Act provides stiffer penalties for crimes against children.
NAPTIP is a lead agency. In fact, as a matter of fact, it's a one-stop shop for issues that borders on investigation, prosecution, arrest, and the rest of them. So, with the enabling national legislation known as Trafficking in Persons Prohibition Law Enforcement and Administration (TPIA) Act, it was further, re-enacted in 2015. And the essence of that was to give it strength, more strength, because we discovered that the deterrent measures arising from the sentences, some of them were not just it. In a situation where you see somebody that trafficked a girl or a boy and is given 5 months imprisonment or option of fine. So the 2015 reenactment came as to give the legislation a bite. Then Section 23 of Trafficking in Persons Prohibition Enforcement and Addiction Act is so explicit on the role of NAPTIP, because if you go to that section, it says any person who employs, requires or recruits, transport, harbors, receives or hires anyone that is below the age of 12 commits an offense and is liable on conviction to imprisonment for a minimum term not exceeding 7 years without an option of fine. Then also in that same section 23, the B part said if anyone employs, requires, recruits, transports, harbors, receives or hires out a child to do any work that is exploitative, injurious, hazardous to to his or physical or psychological development has also committed an offense and is liable on conviction to a minimum term not less than 2 years imprisonment.
Child labor is indeed a violation of a child's rights. Parents have a major role to play in this regard.
My advice to parents would be, no matter how hard or difficult it may seem, probably you have more than 5-7 children and you feel, okay, I can't send them all to school, you have to just send them to school regardless. You have to ensure that they get the required education, because child rights are human rights.
Parents should know that their children is their future. In the sense that one day these children that we are looking at will grow, will not remain children forever. So if you don't train them now, I don't know who will be falling tomorrow. So my advice is parents should ensure that they give adequate training to their children. They should ensure that the children go to school. I'm asking this question: when will it now become the responsibility of the child to take care of the parent? Child labor is a crime. If we are caught, we will go into it.
As NAPTIP strives to eliminate child labor, the support of all stakeholders and the general public is paramount to ensure a secured and bright future for children. Protect that child today. Say no to child labor.
Well said. Children are to be nurtured and protected. So now let's find out what's new on our event segment. Keep watching. A delegation from the Oksano Foundation for Empowerment and Development recently paid a courtesy visit to the Director General of NAPTIP, Professor Fatima Waziri Azi. The team was led by Project Coordinator Dr. Grace Feisimi Babajide.
Oksano Foundation was started in 2012 with a group of friends. We focus on community development, and we also do a lot of advocacy in terms of prevention of human trafficking, and then we have the medical outreach arm of the organization. We've been going to the shelter from time to time to provide, medical assistance. So we've been doing this for a while, and we thought it would be nice to come and see you, make it official, introduce ourselves to you, and let you know that, we're really interested in the work you do. We see what you do. It aligns with our objectives, and, we would really like to continue to work more closely with you, and we are open to volunteering our services at any point in time.
She then presented clothing for the victims at the shelter. Receiving the Oksano Foundation delegation, Professor Fatima Waziri Azi thanked the team for their pro bono services.
When I see a group of people who are selfless, and since I came on board, all the services your organization has been offering has been for free. That is very reassuring that NAPTIP is not just in this fight by itself. There are people who recognize the enormity of what we face as an agency, of what we face as a country. And I know that your foundation has been supporting NAPTIP since 2014. Your foundation has been consistent in its relationship, with its partnership with NAPTIP, and I want to say thank you.
There were also discussions on other areas of partnership with the agency. The Oksano Foundation for Empowerment and Development is a non-governmental organization made up of a team of professionals that render pro bono services to organizations and communities. Officials from the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs recently paid a working visit to NAPTIP. The team was led by Sunday Sanusi Agbagbiaka, National Data Manager on Gender-Based Violence.
So we are here basically to assess the facility of NAPTIP as regards the situation room. When we say situation room, this was conceived 3 years ago. So the idea came that let there be a national situation room which will be domiciled in the Ministry of Women Affairs. But we know that NAPTIP also collects data on gender-based violence, and we expect that such data, instead of having a kind of disjointed data here and there, we have a pool, a kind of a one-stop shop for the country. We are here to see the role NAPTIP is also going to be playing on that dashboard. One, by collecting this data. Two, by transmitting this data to the national dashboard. Three, by also letting us know the prosecution rates.
Welcoming the team on behalf of the agency, the Director of the Violence Against Persons Department highlighted the importance of data gathering.
Without data, you can't make policies. It is very, very important that your ministry and the agency work together. It is the data that will help us to strategize and confront SGBV frontally.
The head of NAPTIP, National Monitoring Center, Titus Mangza, enlightened the team on the National Sex Offenders Database, which is domiciled with NAPTIP. He also conducted the team on a tour of the agency's facilities. The Federal Ministry of Women Affairs and NAPTIP are in partnership to curb sexual and gender-based violence in Nigeria. The Federal High Court in Kano State, presided over by Honorable Justice Jide Abdu Aboki, has sentenced a 27-year-old man, Awalu Garba, to 7 years imprisonment without the option of fine for procuring and sexually exploiting a 14-year-old female. An offence punishable under Section 16, Subsection 1 of the Trafficking in Persons, Prohibition, Enforcement and Administration Act 2015. In a related development, the Federal High Court in Sokoto State, presided over by Honorable Justice A.G. Mahmood, has sentenced a 43-year-old man, Olanrewaju Adesoji, to 2.5 years imprisonment for attempting to procure the illegal entry of a 17-year-old female from Ogun State to Libya through Niger Republic. The convict is also to pay the sum of 50,000 naira as compensation to the victim and 1 week community service at the NAPTIP Zonal Command in Sokoto State. The victim story segment will be on shortly. Don't go away.
I'm living with someone. I don't know her, but I'm just living with her. Last week, Wednesday, she did not allow me to go to school because when I come to her house, my mom's sister told her that I would be going to school, but sometimes I'll go to school, sometimes I'll not go. Like Wednesday, she did not allow me to go to school. He said that I should clean the house, do everything, and we now send him to market money because it's old money. I said they cannot collect it. The second place, I said they don't have change because it's transferred, that everybody is transferred. And I come back from market and she did not come back from work. And I said that, now what am I doing in market that she should have call it that. I've used 3 hours in market. And I said that who eat the bread that she put in the room? And I said, Mommy, I'm not the one that eat the bread. The children now said that, Mommy, I'm just joking that I'm the one that eat the bread. Now I said that, are you the one? The 2 of them was laughing that I'm the one. Mommy, their mother too laugh, but then my mother now take it serious that if the 2 of them say the truth that it's them that eat the bread, that they're going to give them punishment. And the small one said, Mommy, we are not the one that eat it, that Mommy should leave them, they should not be there. And mother now said that she knew that it's been that eat the bread, that this thing that should stood down there. And I was scared that, Mommy, I'm not the one that eat this bread. And I said, no, if I don't keep quiet there, that is going to carry scissors and cut my hair. And I said, Mommy, I'm not the one that eat it. I'm still repeating that I'm not the one. I want her to understand that I'm not the one that eat it. I'm still saying, Mommy, I'm not the one. Now go and carry scissors and cut my hair. Just cut the mouth. I don't know why that if she wants to cut my hair, she will tell me that she wants to cut my hair. Is it because of bread that she now cuts my hair? So because I've already made me promise to my mom, because if I cut my hair, everybody will be think I'm a boy, that me I'm a boy, I'm not a girl. And I tell my mother that if I can continue playing this hair, that I'm not going to barb it, cut it again. And this woman did not tell me before she cut this my hair. Before me I sleep, I used to collect phone and set alarm so I can wake up early around 5 o'clock. In that morning, I now took the phone and now sees it that maybe if I carry the phone that will make me to leave that house, and I took the phone and I keep it. Now I see the person who carry the phone. I did not answer, I did not say anything. That is me that carry the phone. Now tell her husband to call Army because our state is Army state. Army, that is me that carry the phone. And the Army want to beat me. My neighbor now came and say, Praise, why you are not explaining everything for them? My neighbor now said that he saw the phone when I kept it, and I said yes. And I explained everything that happened to my neighbor. And one evening, I take me to police station, go and report for them. For police station, that they brought me to NAPTIP. NAPTIP, I want to thank you for everything that you have done for me.
For more inquiries and support, or to report cases of suspected human trafficking, violence against persons and child abuse, please call NAPTIP hotline 0703 0000 203 or the short code 627, or email us info@naptip.gov.ng. Visit our website www.naptip.gov.ng. Follow us on our social media platforms at NAPTIP Nigeria, or watch our videos on YouTube.
Our time is up, but let's quickly remind you that child labor is a crime. Till I come your way again next week, report all cases of child labor and abuse to NAPTIP. Thank you for watching and see you then. I'm Angela Agbegi. Bye for now.